Tim Black. Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am. True.
All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black at Night show. All right. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and everyone that's out there tonight tuning in. I'm glad to have you here. We got a lot of stories we want to get to. But first, I want to let you know that this show is brought to you tonight by justinformed.com. It's a social media site I'd love for you to check out, and the reason why is because we don't track you. We don't sell your data. Ain't no Cambridge Analytica crap going on with justinformed.com. So come be a part of a social media platform that's about policy and people and communication. All right, guys. So it's a lot, right? It's a lot going on. And I put out a very important video, I think, that you're going to enjoy the video, plus learn some stuff about our military budget. So that video is available on YouTube as well as Facebook. And go to my YouTube channel with Tim's Take Live to check that out. Or find me on Facebook at Real Tim Black, and I'm the same way on Twitter. So I look forward to seeing you there. Let's start off tonight. Let's start off tonight with some somber news. All right? And we're going to start here because I think we need to have more respect, okay? Charles Krauthammer dies at 68. Charles Krauthammer dies at 68. Fox News remembers the beloved commentator. Charles Krauthammer was one of the most influential political analysts of the modern era and a longtime favorite of the Fox News Channel viewers. He passed away Thursday at age 68 after a battle with cancer. After a heartbreaking letter to his fans and colleagues, Krauthammer revealed on June 8th that he only had weeks to live. His illuminating commentaries across Fox News Channel's programming were noticeably absent since last August when he underwent surgery to have a malignant tumor removed from his abdomen. After months of complications and an arduous recovery process, Krauthammer shared with viewers in May that he hoped to soon return to the airwaves, but sadly, subsequent tests revealed the cancer had returned. He was a Pulitzer Prize winner who graduated from Harvard Medical School in 1975. Despite a first-year driving accident that left him a quadriplegic, he leaves behind his wife, Robin, and his son, Daniel. So we want to give an applause to Krauthammer for all the people that he touched and all the fans and all the co-workers and colleagues and, of course, for his family. And I just want to say it shouldn't be that hard to be decent human beings to one another. I know it may seem that way at times. You know, social media it's all about who can be the most sarcastic bastard in the room. That's the tweet that gets posted. That's the YouTube video that goes the most viral. That's the Facebook post that gets shared most often. It's a shame that that's what we've morphed into as a society, and it's a shame that our culture has gotten so toxic. Whether you agreed with his politics or not, man's life is gone, has been lost. And that all of us are just human beings, just people trying to eke out an existence and do the best we can. Some of us need to remember that as we go about our day. All right. Speaking of that, I guess we ought to stay in the same vein. Melania Trump. Let's go to Melania Trump. Melania Trump's been in the news lately because of a conversation.
We have frames starting at just $6. So
get out of here.
The bank. You're
get out of here.
On a budget. Visit iBuyDirect.com.
You son of a...
It's how you frame it.
You mother... I don't want to hear that.
First Lady.
Stop. All right. Son of a. All right. Look at these ads everywhere. You son of a. First Lady Melania Trump's office. I want to hear about, okay, so how many people heard about the tweet between her and Peter Fonda? All right. All right, I don't even know if I need to show this crap. I didn't need to show this. First Lady Melania Trump office contacted the Secret Service after actor Peter Fonda went after her 12-year-old son during an early morning Twitter rant on Wednesday. Stephanie Grisham, the First Lady's communications director, said in a statement to The Hill that the Secret Service was notified on Wednesday after Fonda tweeted about Barron Trump. Yeah. So, let me just calm down, Woofy. Calm down, Wolfpack. This is what Peter Fonda said, and excuse the language because it's his words, not mine. I'm just repeating them so that you know what he said. He sent out this tweet. He said, "We should rip Barron Trump from his mother's arms, put him in a cage with pedophiles, and see if mother will stand up against the giant asshole she's married to. 90 million people in the streets on the same weekend in the country. Fuck." The tweet has since been deleted. Now, of course, Peter Fonda was referring to the story of the week, the story of the focus about family separations, children being separated at the border, apparently from their families, and his pure, utter disgust at Melania Trump for some reason. Melania made a post on Twitter, I think, where she said something about it. I think it wasn't just totally out of nowhere where Peter Fonda decided to call out Melania Trump. She said, "Mrs. Trump hates to see children separated from their families and hopes both sides of the aisle can finally come together to achieve successful immigration reform." Now, that's what her communications person for Melania said. So she put out a tweet, something like that, okay? So that's when Peter Fonda made this tweet at Melania Trump. And, that's why I think that people really need to be a little bit more decent at times. Now, not me. I'm going to be even more of a complete, killing it. I'm going to be more brutal. Because I've been learning a couple things over the last few days that have reset my clock. But I promise you I won't be going after first ladies who have no power. So Peter Fonda, it's amazing how you could be someone who had the liberal, sort of like the liberal media, all week talking about how horrible Trump was, how horrible the policy was. And for some reason you wanted to give the conservatives side of the country an opportunity to say, look how horrible the liberals are. I don't know how many movies you've done lately. I don't know how powerful you remain to be. But you just lost a lot of your credibility. Not to mention respect of a lot of people. It was unnecessary. Anything that Trump does shouldn't be attributed to Melania, I don't think. I don't think Trump consults with her about anything he does, frankly. And I definitely don't think it was right to bring the child into the conversation. I say the same thing about Rosie O'Donnell when she said some things about Barron Trump. Leave the kids out of it. Go after Trump all day, 6 days a week, twice on Sundays, but leave the kids out of it. I don't know why that's such a hard thing to do. So anyway, I thought it was a stupid ass tweet to send. You shouldn't say this type of crap. Pedophiles, brother? Pedophiles? Come on, man. We got to do better. You should do better. You too old to be so stupid. Is what I think. Okay. And people should have called it just like that. Regardless of if you like Trump or don't like Trump, when are we just going to just call things the way they are? You know, if somebody said, and they said horrible things about Obama's kids. Don't get me wrong. They said horrible things about Obama's kids. But I would condemn that too. Why can't have people have decency? And why do people follow people who can't call it straight? Don't we want fairness in media? Don't we want fairness in... Hey, look, I'm all for public shaming, but I want some fairness in the public shaming. Oh, we need that much of an echo chamber? Is that it? We need that. We need an echo chamber so badly to people to just confirm my stupid confirmation bias. Confirm our confirmation bias. You know, to feed our confirmation bias. It's like a furnace, and we need to keep putting wood in it. And we don't care if the person's right, wrong, if they have any facts, nothing. Just as long as it suits our narrative. It's horrible, and it's not the way to get the truth, and it's definitely not going to make your life better at all. It's not going to solve any problems. No problems get solved with that. None. No knowledge, no growth, no nothing. Peter Fonda is a dickhead for what he said, and that's what it should be. And why would you defend it? Don't defend it. Throw the guy under the bus for it. Roseanne. But one thing I want to say is Roseanne's comments, like, I know a lot of people feel bad for Roseanne. I don't feel bad for Roseanne, okay? I don't. I feel bad for a lot of things in this country, but I don't feel bad for millionaires who say stupid crap on Twitter and then lose their jobs. Regular people lose their jobs for far less. And stop comparing Peter Fonda making a stupid-ass comment to a racist, what seemed to be racist comment by Roseanne. It ain't the same thing. Stop conflating everything to equal to everything. You know, I see you, Paul Joseph Watson, and you Ben Shapiro scumbags. That's all you do. Everything is a comparison to things that don't even equate to it. Barron Trump is not from a group of people that have been historically disenfranchised and enslaved in this country. He's a kid who should be off limits. I agree, but it's really no comparison to this. All right? Now, if you don't know that there's a little difference, all right? And look, I never called for Roseanne to lose her job, but I'm not going to picket about it. I'm not going to form a rally about it. I'm not going to stand online to fight it. I'm not going to join a vigil for it. And if Peter Fonda lost whatever endorsements that don't exist for him or acting roles, well, I'd be fine with that too, and I wouldn't fight that. All right. Can you hear this thing? I don't know if we can even hear this thing. Can we hear this? Maybe I got my speaker too low. I got to make sure I can hear stuff. Hold on. There we go. It's working. All right, since we're already on Melania Trump, I guess we'll stay there. I mean, there's nothing I can do, right? All right. Back to what I was talking about. I lost my whole train of thought. Did you hear that? I heard it. Did you hear it? Did you hear that? All right, so anyway, Melania Trump. She wore a jacket today. I guess she was pissed off. Maybe she's tired of being Mrs. Trump. All right? She wore this jacket today, and it made a lot of talking points. People talked about it. Where's the jacket? Is this the jacket? No, that's not the jacket. Is this the jacket? Well, no, that's not the jacket. Here we go. Melania jacket. Okay, this is the jacket that Melania wore today when she visited some sites where children were held. Some places where children who are being detained by our U.S. government, by ICE. And she wore this jacket. I really don't care, do you? Now, this is a parka, right? Parka. And it's making a lot of people are talking a lot about it, okay? I really don't care jacket on her way to a child detention center. Now, so why'd she wear the jacket? What's she trying to say, right? Melania's Trump team on Thursday struggled to recover after the First Lady was called out for wearing a jacket that read, "I really don't care, do you?" Now, of course, this was on her way, to, as I stated, to visit a child detention center in South Texas. Now, they say she got backlash for her fashion choice. That's true, but I'm sure she also got some people who applauded. They thought it was cool. Make a statement. These are Trump supporters, okay? A lot of Trump supporters felt that way. They said it threatened her choice of wearing this statement jacket threatened to severely undercut the compassionate photo op, which was already competing with her husband's insistence on Thursday that he's not backing off his administration's zero-tolerance policy toward illegal immigration. First Lady's communication director, once again, Stephanie Grisham, who's getting a lot of work lately, said there was nothing to read into the choice of the Zara jacket. It's a jacket. There was no hidden message. After today's important visit to Texas, I hope the media isn't going to choose to focus on her wardrobe, she said in a statement. Grisham later retweeted today's visit with the children in Texas impacted the First Lady greatly. If media would spend their time and energy on her actions and efforts to help kids rather than speculate and focus on her wardrobe, we could get so much to accomplish on behalf of children. Hashtag she cares. Hashtag it's just a jacket. I'm going to have to call bullshit on that one, guys. All right? Melania, if you're not trying to make a statement, don't make a statement. I'm sorry. If you don't want to make a statement, don't make a statement. Did you know there was words on the back of your jacket? You're the First Lady. If you wear a jacket that's got words on the back of it that appear to be talking to people, people are going to talk about it. And for people to ask you, what did you mean? That's kind of a luxury because people are just going to draw their own conclusions and assign thoughts to you. Whoever picked out your wardrobe should be fired if you didn't know that there were words printed on the back of your parka. Now, I've heard you read and speak several languages. I'm assuming one of those is English. So you had to read that jacket. No excuses. And Stephanie, you're doing your job. I know you're paid to make lies and distract and whatever, okay? But this is a bridge too far, lady. The bridge is too far. You're falling in the ocean on this one. No one's buying it. So, and also, Trump's statement about the jacket or the statement about the statement made on the back of the jacket, he said it had meaning. He said this, I really don't care, do you, written on the back of Melania's jacket, refers to the fake news media. Melania has learned how dishonest they are, and she truly no longer cares. Exclamation point. So which one is it, Stephanie? Is it just a jacket and it means nothing? Or does it mean F the fake news? Fake news, fake, wrong, fake news. Which one is it? Anything else here worth gathering? Well, let's talk. Okay, so we've done that. We've talked about the jacket. We talked about the statement. Now let's talk about what she did at the border. Okay, so she's at the detention center there in South Texas, and here goes a clip of her there and speaking with the peoples. Right. So I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. That's another. Not that one. That's for later. Let's get rid of this one. Get out of here, Peter Fonda. Let's try this.
The children come here. What kind of stage, physical and mental stage they come here? Are they distract? So what you would say, the percentage, how they come here?
Well,
okay, so usually the great majority are Guatemalan. It's a higher percentage rate. Usually when they get here, they're very distraught in the sense that they don't know where they're at. They're thinking that they're going to continue in the process of just the processing them. And when they see the environment and they see the other kids and they see the art, they start relaxing. So the first 24 hours are crucial for us, you know, making sure that we got them the basic needs, showers, you know, clothing, food.
Okay. So they were having a substantive conversation about the lives, you know, the experiences of the children that are held in these detention centers, this one specifically there in South Texas. And there you go. Now, we all know that Trump reversed course on the family separation policy. He held an executive order and a signing in a big to-do about reversing something that he implemented himself. And there's been a lot of miscommunication and disinformation and one-sided biased reporting on the family separation issue, which we'll get to more later. But now let's just talk about what he did today. Bowing to pressure from anxious allies, President Trump reversed himself Wednesday and signed an executive order halting his administration's policy of separating children from their parents when they are detained illegally crossing the U.S. border. Trump has been insisting that his administration had no choice but to separate families apprehended at the border because of federal law and a court decision. The news in recent days has been dominated by searing images of children, as we know, held in cages at a border facility, as well as audio recordings of young children crying for their parents, images that have sparked fury, question of morality, and concern from Republicans about a negative impact on their races in November's midterm elections. Until Wednesday, the President, Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, and other officials had repeatedly argued the only way to end the practice was to have Congress step in and go to a vote, create new legislation, while Democrats said Trump could do it with his signature alone. And yeah, that's what he did. This was Trump at a press conference earlier today. He said, we're going to have strong, very strong borders, but we're going to keep the families together. So Trump, how are you now able to keep the families together without Congress if it took you to have Congress, according to you, in order to make this happen? Like, how were you able to sign this paper today and affect that? I'm not here to spin it. I'm just here to report it. In fact, I'm going to dispel some of the garbage that's being talked about when it comes to family separation later, as it pertains to the Democratic Party. But right now, we're talking about Trump. So, here goes a little bit more about the policy, right? Under a previous class action settlement that set policies for the treatment and the release of detained children or minors caught at the border, families can only be detained for 20 days. A senior Justice Department official said that hasn't changed. There is a stopgap measure, said Gene Hamilton, counsel to the Attorney General. Justice lawyers were planning to file a challenge to the agreement known as the Flores Settlement, asking that a judge allow for the detention of families until criminal and removal proceedings are completed. So they say that Trump's new order is likely to create a fresh set of problems and may well spark a new court fight. It's unclear what happens if no changes to law or the settlement take place by the time families reach the detainment deadline. The language also leaves no room to separate children from parents if it's best for the child's welfare. So sometimes you do need to separate children from parents. I could think of a few times, right? Sometimes these people that say they're parents are not parents. And sometimes we got abusive parents. There may be reasons to do so. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar said the department will start reuniting detained immigrant children with their parents. But he's making no specific commitment on how quickly that will occur. Okay. So what couldn't be done, what needed to have Congress to do, was done today. And here's the thing about this. I have a clip. Well, first let me say this. One of the part of the disinformation that I've seen surrounding this issue is they keep showing these cages. And that's all I keep hearing people say, cages, cages, cages. And sometimes it's said by very well-intentioned people, people with warm hearts, raw emotions. And when people's warm hearts and raw emotions are easily manipulated, easily tampered with, easily used, that's what they do, okay? So now I want you to imagine for a moment that what you saw was not the permanent storage or the permanent, I shouldn't even say storage, these are people. What if those cages that you saw were not the end all, not the actual quarters where they stayed, but a processing step before they reach their final destination? Would that change your opinion about the cages thing? You know, I think it would. I think not everybody. Some people would say you have no reason at all to detain children. Here's the thing. If Trump or if the Border Patrol or if ICE, which I think we don't need ICE, let's just go back. Everything I read about ICE is bad. And I'm not saying every person who works for ICE is bad, but I'm hearing a lot. I've heard nothing positive about ICE. I've read not one single thing that was like, hey, ICE really helps. Okay? It's just another arm of the government, right, that takes taxpayer money that's used to do what we used to do with other organizations within law enforcement. And it's also a role that it seems like anybody can assume this role of Border Patrol. I don't quite understand that part. But it's a fallacy that the children are held in those confined spaces indefinitely. Those children are processed and then they're sent to places that look more like dorms. It does look more like a summer camp where they end up going. Now, I'm not suggesting that in all those cases that's good treatment. I'm not saying that at all, because I have a story where children were being abused in some of these places. At least one of them in the story, where teens kept at the Virginia Center say they were cuffed and beaten and bags put over their heads. All right? So I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is the imagery of the cages, the whole language of this cage thing, the people that were putting that out knew that wasn't the final destination. They knew that was processing. Anybody who's ever been arrested for anything knows you go to places like holding cells. But the holding cells are not the same place where you go when you're actually introduced in the population. And for the children who have not been considered have broken any laws, they're sent to these like dorms and stuff. That's been my understanding. If someone has different information, please present it, because it looks like a bunch of lies to me. Just to tug at the heartstrings. You don't need to lie to us. Well, maybe you do. Because maybe, just maybe, the policies that Trump is enforcing are policies that Obama enforced to a point, and policies that existed well beyond to Bush, that no one bothered to change under Obama. And to that point, here goes a clip, because I know a lot of people, some people, they don't want to hear it from me. They think, oh, Tim supports Trump. He supports Trump, which is crazy. But here goes a clip from MSNBC. Hopefully I can play this without getting in too much trouble.
But this is the problem I have with that. I don't like this policy. I think it's cruel. I think it's terrible. My frustration, and I'm not defending the administration. Let it be clear. It's a guidance from the Attorney General, which I disagree with. And the president's wrong when he defends it.
I think we're trying to create a crisis. They're creating a crisis.
They're trying to create yet another deterrent.
Right, but what is frustrating to me, as you know, I serve as Chief of Citizenship in the Bush administration. I understand the situation in the border. To try to give the impression that all of a sudden the Trump administration it's much more inhumane compared to the Obama administration. Yes, this policy is worse than the policies that were in place with the Obama administration. But there were some policies, and he made reference to it, during the Obama administration that were pretty awful, that separated families. That's why we need immigration reform.
And by the way, look, Alfonso, you do bring a good point, but remember Obama fundraisers back in 2012, Obama was getting protests from immigration advocates.
They called him as a reporter. They called him the reporter-in-chief.
They did.
But the thing is that the thing that's different about President Trump is that he built a campaign attacking immigrants, making them. It was a campaign that was founded in some ways people think in a racist way, and then you add to that the fact that it's zero policy. This is not some families; it's all families. I'm not saying that Obama was better. I'm just saying as a reporter that this is an administration that has changed a policy and made it worse.
I agree with that, but sometimes I feel that there is selective outrage.
I'm shocked that happens in Washington.
Exactly. I know. But it's true. I mean,
and there are a lot of people that agree with you. A lot of the advocates that I've interviewed absolutely agree with you and think that Obama did not get enough pushback for what he did when he was deporting a lot of families. When I was calling around trying to get in touch with families that had been separated, so many people said, well, I can give you families that were separated all the way back under Obama, so what kind of families do you want? So there are definitely a lot of people who are saying that.
Well, I think that's true, but again, it's a matter of degree and it's a matter of attitude. Let's compare this to the Bush administration. There is no way that Tom Ridge, the first Homeland Security Secretary, would have in any way participated in a policy this draconian, where the policy is the way we are going to deter people is we're going to tell them if they do something we don't like, we're taking your kids away. They have announced that.
I agree, but we were also tough. Remember, we ended during the Bush years catch and release. So we were tough. We sent National Guard troops to the border as well.
Okay. So there you go, guys. This is something that doesn't get a lot of play. I don't know why. What's wrong with truth? Guess it's like, oh no, we got truth coming. It's just facts. People were contacting me in 2014 telling me about Obama. I learned about it on the internet because there were people with shows, my Latino brothers, who were contacting me saying, Tim, you have to look at what Obama's doing. I had no idea. Now, to say that, oh, this is different because, well, Trump ran on what some consider racist, and I'll just say it, a lot of racist rhetoric. Well, you know what? I don't much care. In fact, I think it's worse if you run as a nice guy, but you end up doing the thing the bad guy does. Yeah. Why do you think I get so pissed off with Democrats? I get pissed off with Democrats because they pretend to give a damn. Then they do the opposite. I'd rather for you not be my friend and just admit it. I hate a fake phony friend. I hate a fake ally. Just be an enemy. Embrace your racism and your bigotry and your underhanded, dirty, backstabbing ways, you scumbags. That's much better. Now we know where we stand. I get it. So it's no excuse to say, well, we focus more on Trump's depraved actions and horrible policies because we don't like him and he says mean things. To the people that these policies hurt, they could probably give a damn about what he says or how he says it. It's what he does. We need to focus. And as journalist Chuck Todd, you Chuck E. Cheese pizza mouse face bastard. We don't think it's funny or cute that Washington is full of fake ass outrage. You should be reporting on that fake ass outrage. You should be calling it out, Chuck Todd. You shouldn't be laughing and snickering like a schoolgirl. 10-year-old schoolgirl. Yeah, 10-year-old schoolgirl. That's what you should not do. So anyway. There's something else about this border stuff that needs to be talked about. So Obama did it. Bush did it. Obama did it. Trump did it. Trump just did it worse. He did it more. He's doing a lot more of it. Okay? And it's horrific, right? But what's the solution to the problem? When are we going to get the solutions to the problem that we are dealing with? A lot of these countries in Central America that affected where people are coming here, notably, you heard it in the Melania clip, are coming from places like Guatemala. What did we do in Guatemala? How did we have a hand in Guatemala's situation they currently find themselves? Oh, I know, colonization, imperialism, meddling in elections, tampering, intervention, regime change, tampering, CIA, black squads, all of the garbage that we do. Picking leaders, winners and losers. Scumbaggery. Then you got the audacity to say, what are you doing here? Now, as pissed off as I may seem, and as, like in your face about it, I was surprised to see this clip. But what I try to do on this show is call it as it is. And I have no problem at all bigging up someone who gets it right. Now, my good friend Chris Mohan, who I've performed comedy with on tour with Lee Camp in several different states across this great country, he tweeted this out today, and I'm glad I caught it.
Glenn in Winston-Salem, North.
Now, before we run this total clip, and I'm going to see if I can make it bigger, guys. Don't get mad at me. It's from Tom Hartman. And in this clip, Tom Hartman has a caller. And this caller is going to say some things. And based on my experiences or my understanding of how Tom operates, Tom's going to act a little bit uncharacteristically. Can we make that bigger here? I just want to make this bigger so you guys can see it. Well, you're just here to hear it. Here we go.
North Carolina. Hey, Glenn, what's on your mind?
Hey, Tom, thanks for taking my call. I have a different perspective on what you said earlier in regards to the message that Christ had in the Bible. All the information I've seen on television, those kids had shelter, they had shelter, probably air conditioned, they had food, and according to the media, what they came from was a country where gangs were running wild, overthrowing the government. So it looks to me like they're much better off than they were in the country they came from. All right, they came to this country, and even agree with Trump's laws or not, the laws of the land are what they are. If you come to that country,
the laws of the land are not what they are, Glenn. The law of the land does not say that if you run a stop sign, you get your children taken away from you. And coming into this country without authorization is a misdemeanor. It's the same level of crime as running a stop sign. It's the same level of crime as jaywalking. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that BS. Bob in Arcata, California. Hey, Bob, thanks for listening to 1480 AM. What's up?
Hey, Tom, you tell me how we're going to be able to afford to take every third world person into our country.
We don't have to afford it, Bob. What we could do is stop breaking, what is this, Fool's Day? You've got, how many people, Bob, have come into the United States as refugees from Costa Rica?
I have no idea, but
the answer is zero.
Going bankrupt?
Bob, the answer is zero.
Like Chicago going.
Bob, listen to me for a second. The answer is zero. People are not coming to this country as refugees from Costa Rica. They're not coming to this country as refugees from Germany or France or England. They're coming from this country to this country from countries that we broke. Ronald Reagan, Ollie North, George Bush Sr. basically invaded Central America. They took down democratic governments in Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador. They supported death squads. They sent John Negroponte down there. Suddenly people started showing up with bullets in the back of their heads. We supported these death squads. We flipped these into right-wing countries. Costa Rica was able to avoid that. They said, no, America, we don't want your, quote, help. We don't want your military. We don't want your drug war. In fact, we're going to disband our army. That's what Costa Rica did. They disbanded their army, and everybody in Costa Rica has free health care and free education. We don't have to be taking in the refugees of the world, particularly in our own hemisphere, if we would just stop making them, Bob.
Well, that's fine, but we still can't afford to make up for whatever Bush did.
Bob, you're spending $4,000 a year. If you're the average American making $50,000 a year, you're spending $4,000 a year in supporting corporate welfare. You might be spending $3 a year in paying for people who are showing up on the southern border. This is such a BS You're barely barely hiding the pure racism and hatred, anti-Christian hatred, Bob, that is bleeding through your words. I'm used to seeing it on Fox News. I see Ann Coulter say, "Oh, these are just child actors." You're used to seeing it in these just sick and twisted venues. But calling into this program with this kind of crap, I'm not putting up with it. I'm not. I am not.
Tom, you're gonna need a massage or something, brother. That was great. I loved it, man. Somebody they got under Tom's skin, man. Tom wasn't going for that BS. It's like, listen here, you racist prick. But not only that, Tom had a lot of facts to back that up, and I had no idea. He actually knows the numbers. He said you spend $4,000 a year if you make $50,000 a year. You're spending $4,000 a year, taxpayer dollars, are going towards financing corporate welfare. I wonder how much money we're spending on actual welfare recipients per year. Yeah? I wonder how much. He said you spend like $4 on these people of your taxpayer money. Get what I'm saying? And see, this is the whole thing, man. I rail about it all the time. I talk about how people always say, we can't afford this. How can we afford to? I know you don't want us to give everybody health coverage. Oh, God. Oh, my God. House the homeless? Oh, God. Meanwhile, you bankroll Walmart. Meanwhile, I'm going to get to a story we're about to do about the military-industrial complex, about defense contractors. And that's going to blow your back of your head off, man. He said should. You so busy. See, that racist shit. See, that's why it works. All this crap they do to us works because we got a bunch of people who believe that other people are lesser. That's all it is. And they use racism and homophobia and xenophobia and all the other phobias to get you to think that crap. Meanwhile, the money's going to the corporations. You ain't spending that much money on nobody who's getting extra food stamps, dude. Tom Hartman. Give it up for Tom Hartman on that one. So that video I was telling you about earlier that I did on our military spending, while we were talking about this, talking about the separation of families, talking about the children, talking about the politics of Trump and signing and the executive order and all this, while we were doing all of that, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have focused on it. I'm not saying it's a non-issue. It's damn sure an issue. But this is also an issue too. $716 billion military budget approved in the House a couple weeks ago. Today, it passed the Senate. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, my God, this is nothing but a bunch of neocons had to pass that act. I know these good Democrats didn't sign on with that war party. And if you think that, that's because you're not paying attention or you've been watching too much MSNBC and too much CNN. Both those parties are full of warmongering sons of bitches. 67.5% of House Democrats voted for the $716 billion military budget they just handed to Trump, which includes an $82 billion increase next year. 85% of Democrat senators voted for it. How much you want to bet Chuck Schumer voted for it? Why do you talk about Democrats? Because they're supposed to be, because they lie and say they're the party of peace and they're not. They lie and say they care about black people and poor people and gay people and all this crap, and they don't. It is a distraction. Do you realize that $82 billion increase? Let's not even talk about the crazy ass budget. The numbers are just so huge. Your eyes gloss over. Let's not focus on the $761 billion or $716 billion. Let's just focus on the $82 billion uptick. Okay? That $82 billion uptick, right? That would provide, I don't know, 2-year community college for every American that wanted it. It wouldn't even cost that much. You know, like you could fund it. You could fund it. And that $82 billion uptick that they gave Trump is more than Russia's entire budget. Do you get what I'm saying? 2 years of our military budget. 2 years of 2 years of our $82 million increase is equal to how much China spends. See, China spends like $150 billion a year. We're spending almost 4 times that. 15 times what? 10 times what Russia spends. Do you get what I'm saying? Over 10 times what Russia spends. But they want you to think they have to spend that because of Russia. And they'll tell you they don't have money for your school. And they'll tell you they need to cut this program. We need to cut Meals on Wheels. We need to cut chips. We need to cut veteran spending. We need to cut this and cut that and cut that and cut the other thing and cut. No one ever asked why don't they cut the military budget? Because people start thinking, because they watch propaganda, they start thinking that, you're going to be cutting poor soldiers and the soldiers need the money. Just dumb. Stupid. Those soldiers are not getting that money. That money's for bombs and drones to kill poor people in their homes, dude. That's what it's for. That's the reality. Only anti-war party that we have is the Green Party, the People's Independent Party. You know, that's it, man. These third parties, these parties that don't get the chance to even get on the freaking ballot. It's the only opposition to war party that we really have. I'm going to leave it there. I mean, there's more. There's so much more you could dig into regarding our military budget, our spending, how ludicrous it is, how completely insane it is. Some politicians vote for it, that increase war spending, because it creates jobs via defense contractors in states they govern. But you mean to tell me the only way that you can create jobs in your state is to build bombs? It's not true. You could put that money into infrastructure. Why not give it to the contractors and build stuff? Why not create green energy? Why not create better metro systems? Why not create better roads and schools and put people to work that way? You could. And you know what? You wouldn't have to blow up people. You wouldn't have to regime change and go to foreign countries. And not to mention, you wouldn't have to have all veterans come back with missing limbs. Man, what about that part? Besides the money, what about that part? What about the people when the 90% of your drone strikes hit innocent civilians? Oh, you're too busy mad at me, right? You're too busy mad at the truth, or you're too busy mad at people who don't look like you, or who they decide to love or date or marry, or some other superficial, none of your fucking business reason why that's a problem for you. You too busy focused on that. Meanwhile, they get richer, you get poorer, and people die. It's insanity. It's insanity. Somewhere out there are people who care about policy more than they care about parties, more than they care about the color of one's skin, the relationships they have, what they worship and don't worship, who they pray to. What kind of, somewhere out there are a lot of people, I know it, man, who just think people are people. We need to keep our eye on the freaking ball. Well, that's the people I want following me. That's the people I try to fight for every day when I do this. Those are the people that made me leave behind a career in corporate America where I was going to just continue to be a computer guy. You're the reason why I do what I do now. Because I know you're out there, guys. Tim Black's Wolfpack's out there. And there are other people out there who think like us. They just need to be awakened. They just need to be informed. This information need to be shared with them so that they know the deal. That tiny slither of housing and food stamps. Well, we rather argue about what baker, who can buy, what religious loophole you can use to not sell a freaking pie to a gay couple. Meanwhile, you don't have any privacy. Your country's killing people in your name. It's your money to do it. We're not even going to talk about this border shit for really what it is. It's a money grab, you dumbass. It's a money grab. Well, I'm going to do more videos on that. We're going to talk about all of the contractors, the private prison contractors that are making hand over the fist money behind this new ramp up of Border Patrol, of this new ramp up of detainment and arrest of people crossing the border without paperwork. We're going to talk about that because that's what it always is. When we ask these, because whenever there's something going on and you see an increase in anything, know that money's behind it. Stop thinking it's something else. Oh, the cartels are taking over. Man, we funded those damn cartels. If you value what we try to do here on a daily basis, which is give out truth, which is report from a standpoint of truth, not biased for a particular party, not even out of disgust or hate, particularly for Donald Trump, just a disgust and hate for corruption and lies and BS. If you value that and you find any value in it at all, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. Join Team Black. Join the Tim Black's Wolfpack at patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. How much longer are we going to be fighting amongst ourselves, man? Because somebody didn't use the correct intersectional word. How much longer are we going to fight with each other, even though we want the same things and agree basically on the same concepts, because someone's not looking at it exactly the same way on every issue? How much longer are we going to rip each other to shreds over the most penny-ante, infinitesimal differences of opinion? Meanwhile, the robbers, the grifters are making it out the back door with all the money, while we sit here with our thumbs up our asses, worried about trivial points that don't matter at the end of the day. We could do better. Be a part of it. All right, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Go to justinformed.com. Become a member of a real social media network that's not about stealing from you. It's founded by activists, commentators, such as Nico House and Tim Black and Elizabeth Voss and Caitlin Johnstone. We're there, and Suzanne, and we're there. And all my people, shout out to all my people, my Truth Bomb activists. Mikasa Sukasa Network, Tim Black TV, Team Black's Wolfpack, all you guys for standing in our corner. We're going to keep fighting a good fight. We need more people. All right, guys. Tomorrow's Freedom Friday. That's when you call up and you grab the mic and you say whatever's on your mind. The show starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you there. That's all I got. Peace.